Chapter 734. A raging spiritual pressure washed over Wilbur like a huge wave. However, Wilbur stood still like a rock, only his clothes moved with the wind. Cain had bloodshot eyes, and he looked very twisted in the face. The long spear in his hand was ignited in spiritual flames, and there were countless runes on it. Strong gusts of wind howled in the yard. The spiritual energy was tremendous. The silhouette of Acenthia gradually formed behind Cain. It was staring at Wilbur with a cruel gaze. The terrifying spiritual pressure kept spreading, which caused the trees and stone steps to break and fall. Ha ha! Do you feel the power of Acenthia now, Dasha scum? Enjoy your death, you stupid thing. Cyrus screamed like crazy to release his pent-up anger. Yaren smiled and did not speak. He looked at Wilbur nonchalantly. Wilbur summoned his Thunder Cleaver. The Thunder Cleaver ignited in a dual-colored flame with a thunderous noise. Die! Cain roared maniacally and lunged towards Wilbur with the long spear. A huge force came towards him as the rocks flew. The night seemed darker with his attack. Wilbur shouted and made a slash attack with his Thunder Cleaver. A terrifying blade force countered the astounding attack. Two tremendous forces clashed with each other. It caused a loud boom and an explosion of spiritual energy, which formed tornadoes. Then, Cain sprinted toward Wilbur maniacally while an astounding force charged toward Wilbur. Wilbur combined three powers on his Thunder Cleaver and had a close-range battle with Cain. Loud explosions could be heard. Cain had disorganized attacks. His long spear attacks were random and disregarded all the destruction caused around him. A few ninjas were not able to dodge in time. They were dragged into the terrifying force and torn apart. However, Wilbur activated his godly training form to battle Cain, so he was not at a disadvantage at all. Cain was above a saint-level cultivator, and his powers contained a deathly aura. It was more powerful than the corrupted aura on the ghost sword. Ordinary saint-level cultivators would not be able to face his attacks. However, Wilbur was an exception. He had an absolute advantage over Cain when it came to combat skills. Cain could not believe that during their quick and intense battle, he was continuously hit by Wilbur. Blood was dripping from his slender body. Cain had a terrifying defense because he had divine powers. The few hits he got from Wilbur barely broke through his defense. It did not cause severe injuries. Wilbur was also surprised by that. His Thunder Cleaver had the properties of breaking armor. He could not believe that Cain only suffered minor injuries. It seemed like the divine powers were not to be underestimated. Cyrus and Yaren were in shock. They could not believe that their father, who possessed diving powers, was at a disadvantage. He was maniacal, but his divine powers could not be challenged by a saint-level cultivator. How can this lowlife be so powerful? They thought. Suddenly, Cain roared. He was injured and totally maniacal. His slender body instantly grew to 2 meters tall. His white hair turned black as it grew to his legs. His face turned into the face of a woman. It seemed like he regained consciousness at that moment. But he was more like a god. A terrifying power exuded from him as he looked down on Wilbur with a cold gaze. The terrifying spiritual pressure made Yaren and the others shiver. They knelt subconsciously. Goddess Acenthia, have you really descended? Asked the brothers with trembling voices. Wilbur was ignited in a dual-colored flame at that moment with thunderous sounds. A terrifying spiritual pressure was also emitted. The two forces clashed with each other, and it caused a series of explosions. A lot of the nearby ninjas and assassins backed away because they were petrified. They knelt while looking sincere.